Must-see places in Italy.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Titanic. I'm your host, Alexa.
Italy is most well known for its fashion, architecture, delicious food like pasta, pizza, and risotto, and its abundance of artwork. There is no shortage of places to visit when you're in Italy, and today's list will make you want to pack your bags and book a one-way ticket.
If you're new here, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload.
Rome. When in Italy, always head to Rome, the capital of Italy. It's there that you will step back in time with its history dating back 26 centuries. High on your to-do list when heading to Rome is the Colosseum, the Sistine Chapel, and Michelangelo's Pietà. Rome is a great destination for the whole family, and gelato while chilling in the Borghese Gardens go hand in hand. Rome is home to 900 churches and 80 fountains for you to drop your coins into and wish that you could go back soon. 700,000 euros are thrown into the fountains each year, which are donated to charity. The best part of Rome? The entire museum dedicated to pasta, as if you really needed another reason to head there, right? Cinque Terre. This coastal area looks like it belongs in a painting. It's so beautiful. Lying in the northwest region of Italy are these 5 villages, and together they make up Cinque Terre. They all form part of this national park and are a UNESCO-listed World Heritage Site. What makes this area even more incredible is that the little villages are connected by paths and sea, and it's very rare that you'll spot a car. There are a few areas where they do allow cars, but for the most part, there is no vehicle access available. Best to avoid high season, as this quaint area gets pretty packed. Many who have been there, done that, will tell you that the best pesto in the world is made here, and you can believe them. Pompeii. Does Pompeii deserve all the hype it receives from tourists? We believe so. It was AD 79 when Vesuvius erupted, covering Pompeii in a layer of ash. Pompeii was a thriving port city back in the day, and the site has been an integral part of the research of ancient Italy. When you visit, you will be amazed to see the state of the buildings left behind, so it's hard to believe that the area was plundered right before it was discovered by the right people. The city contains civic buildings, wide roads, a gymnasium, amphitheater, and even a fast food place. What has been a coup for researchers is all the graffiti that has been so well preserved. Frescoes have narrated the daily lives of those living in Pompeii, and it's believed that the city was home to wealthier Romans. It's open for debate, but many historians believe that the community did not know they were living so close to a volcano. Dolomites. Your phone camera is not going to do justice to the Dolomites' towering mountain range because it's so majestic and vast. You won't even need to take photographs because the imagery will be forever in your mind. The Dolomites are a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and those that have been fortunate enough to travel through recommend at least 2 weeks to travel without haste. Stop at every small village along the way and hike the plethora of trail options. Siena is the definite must-see in this region, where you can take a cable car to the top of the mountain with sheer drops on either side of you. Lagos de Brais boasts sublime blue lakes and sunsets that rival most places on Earth. And then Alpe de Suisse is a great place to stretch and forget all your troubles, and you'll be stretching out in the largest alpine meadow in Europe. Venice. A trip to Italy is hardly complete without a stop in Venice. The floating city is pure magic to wander between the narrow streets or glide in a gondola along the canals that connect it. You'll enjoy romantic dinners in small cafes tucked below street-facing apartments that have seen hundreds of years of history. One thing is for sure, you don't go to Venice for solitude. It is full to the brim with tourists all vying for their piece of the romantic magic. The main attractions like St. Mark's Square and Basilica, the Ducale Palace, and the Bridge of Sighs are often wall-to-wall with picture-snapping tourists, but despite that, you'll still be overwhelmed by the charm of the city. Venice itself has plenty of attractions, but the nearby islands are also worth a visit if you have the time. February is one of the busiest months as it is the annual Venice Carnival. The Amalfi Coast. The Amalfi Coast is a tourist paradise. Just south of Naples is this series of small cliffside villages, each with a unique trait that makes each one worth a visit. But here are a few of the highlights. The citrus region is home to the Fumaro lemon trees, harvested between February and October. Limoncello is made right from these fruits when they are fresh from the trees. From the cliff town of Sorrento, you have a view right over the clear water of the bay to Capri Island. The town of Bassano del Grappa invented a dangerous yet firm Italian favorite spirit called grappa. Grappa is a strong spirit distilled from the remains of the grape harvest, grape skins, stalks, and seeds. Make sure you have a taste because, after all, when in Bassano del Grappa. Florence. If you're headed for wine country in Tuscany, then Florence is on the itinerary because it's basically the center of the area. But far from just an overnight stop, Florence is a world of activities. First and most importantly, you can't go to Florence and miss out on panino con l'impredotto, a local delicacy exclusive to Florence. Enjoy it as a takeaway in the Boboli Gardens, filled with wonderful, larger-than-life sculptures. Ornate churches prevail in Florence. Some of the most famous are the Medici Chapel, Florence Cathedral, and Florence Baptistery. Complete a major life goal of seeing a Michelangelo sculpture firsthand by visiting the Galleria dell'Accademia. The original David statue is on display there. Verona. Fair Verona was the backdrop to the most famous romance of all time, Romeo and Juliet. You can relive the romance of the star-crossed lovers if you visit Juliet's house and even reenact the balcony scene with your lover. But Shakespeare's use of Verona didn't end with this tragic romance. Two other plays also take place in the city, namely Taming of the Shrew and, probably most obviously, The Two Gentlemen of Verona. Grab a Shakespeare guide and visit more of the locations made famous by this bard's words. Ironically, it's not actually clear if Shakespeare ever set foot in Verona or he was just really good at research. Milan. Most tourists to Italy think of Milan in terms of an airport terminal and perhaps something runway high fashion, but there is a lot more to this jewel in Italy's crown. It has the densest collection of art and architectural attractions in Italy, and naturally the home of high fashion is great for shopping, but its history of creativity and art dates back centuries. While Giorgio Armani might be the first creative that comes to mind when you think of Milan, you will soon realize that it has been a hub that inspired creativity since artists Michelangelo and Da Vinci, the composer Verdi, opera singer Enrico Caruso, and conductor Toscanini all lived or worked in this city. Museums, palaces, and opera houses are all crammed with art by the world's greatest and most well-known artists. Genoa. Genoa was the birthplace of Christopher Columbus, the famous explorer. It is from this port city he probably started his dreaming of distant, unexplored territories to which he would sail. The palace is worth a visit. Add Palazzo Reale, the Palazzo Bianco, or the Palazzo Rosso to your schedule. The old city center is Piazza dei Ferrari, complete with a typical Italian fountain. The post itself has an aquarium and a replica of a pirate ship. Get a panoramic view of the city from a glass elevator, which is a really unique local attraction. San Marino. Visit 2 countries during your trip to Italy without even leaving Italy's borders. San Marino is a small country inside Italy. It's also the 5th smallest country in the entire world. It sports its own football team, army, and flag. Its population is 33,000, and San Marino is, interestingly, not part of the EU. The capital of San Marino has the same name and is a steep climb. Its main attraction is its defense towers, perched atop the peaks of the Monte Titano mountain, containing interesting and bizarre museum collections such as the Torture Museum. Siena. If you can time your visit to Siena for the Palio in summer, it is a spectacle worth the crowds. Twice a year, the sloping main square is transformed for a chaotic horse race. The streets are in the medieval style of a winding rabbit's warren to explore that occasionally break into big open plazas, and the whole city has unique red brick buildings. The 13th and 14th century heyday of art and culture in Siena were on par with Florence, and plenty of creative treasures remain in the city today. Turin. Forget Swiss chocolate. Turin has its own impressive history of chocolatiers and is home to many sweet inventions of local master pastry chefs. If you really have a sweet tooth, visit during the annual chocolate festival. Turin is also a cinema city, boasting the best cinema museum in the world. It has masks and memorabilia from films like Lord of the Rings and Star Wars and plenty of other major blockbusters. The museum is contained in another Turin must-see, the Mole Antonelliana, a monument with a 360-degree view of the entire city. Of all the places you've seen so far, which would be your must-see experience? Tell me in the comments below. 1. Scola Tower, Italy. If you want to do something completely different when you head to Italy, then make plans to visit the Scola Tower, which juts out of the sea in the Gulf of Poets. Its role was for military defense for the Senate of the Republic of Genoa. The walls are seriously thick, which is why it's still standing since the early 17th century.